Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sunday Matinee. I'm Ben Stahl. I'll be your host, and it's just me again this week. We're not going to do a full episode, just the news again for the week. So the deal is, with the world reopening, um, I'm kind of taking a break and readjusting to getting my life back out into the world and connecting again with people um, in reality as opposed to here on the internet, which is great. um, and I'm gonna try and figure out how to keep the show going while we're all sort of getting out back into the world. So there will be new full episodes coming at some point. We're just going to figure out how to do that. In the meantime, last week, you may have noticed that I posted a new playlist on the YouTube channel, Trailer Tuesdays. I called it Trailer Tuesdays for May 25th. The original plan was to post a new playlist every Tuesday. I now realize that would mean there are suddenly just a ton of playlists and they're just trailers, which can get really annoying. So instead, I'm just going to update the one Trailer Tuesday playlist every week and add trailers to it. So keep your eyes open every Tuesday on that particular playlist for new trailers. For instance, this last week we got a trailer for The Tomorrow War, so expect that, and several others. All right, let's get to the news proper. Apparently, a movie based on the video game Portal has been in development since 2013. So here we are, 8 years later. J.J. Abrams is attached to it, either as a producer or a director or both. But he has stated that a script is in development, basically. Um, but we really don't know anything about Portal apart from that. Anyone who's played Portal and its sequel know that it is a wacky, crazy, weird game with some hilarious dialogue and some great world building in what is truly actually a sort of confined space. So it should be very interesting, and I'd love to see what they're able to do with that. On to stuff that actually we know exists. Blumhouse and Universal Pictures have begun production on a remake of Firestarter. This adaptation will star Zac Efron. Apart from that, I don't really know much about it. The original film starred Drew Barrymore. I honestly didn't know this was a thing until today, but hey, it's a thing that does exist. There are production photos so far, so it's further along than Portal. Moving on, HBO has tapped Hellstrom executive producer Amanda Segel to write the Game of Thrones spinoff 10,000 Ships. This is the story of Princess Nymeria and her journey to Dorne, which is set well before the events of Game of Thrones. You may recall in Game of Thrones, Arya Stark has a direwolf named Nymeria. That direwolf is named after this character. So this is the second Game of Thrones spinoff show, which means, hey, if you sign up for HBO Max, these last few months to catch up on all their new films, once again, we have another reason to keep that subscription if you so desire. Speaking of streaming services, Amazon has acquired MGM for $8.45 billion. MGM, of course, has several films in their library, several thousand. But their biggest franchises are undoubtedly Rocky and, of course, James Bond. And Bond producers had to come forward very quickly after this announcement to state that films in the Bond franchise will continue to see theatrical releases first. So don't expect brand new James Bond films to be dumped straight onto Amazon Prime. Bond has a place in the cinema. I imagine Rocky films and the Creed films will continue to also be released theatrically as well. At least one can hope. Uh, we've been talking a lot about the Powerpuff Girls, the new CW series recently. Um, Apparently, the folks at CW were not satisfied with the pilot as it is, but rather than scrap the entire project, the creative team and the main cast are staying on to just rework it and try something different. So, that's a good thing that they at least have faith in this team and this cast to try something new. It's more often than not when a pilot doesn't work out, the studio just flat out says no. So this is good. Um, Doctor Strange and Spider-Man director Sam Raimi is producing a new installment in the Evil Dead franchise for HBO Max titled Evil Dead Rise. It's supposedly supposed to take place in the same continuity as the Bruce Campbell Evil Dead films and TV series. I do not know how the 2013 film directed by Fede Alvarez fits into that continuity, if at all. It was more of a reboot remake of the original film, um, but they could still find a way to fit it into the continuity. So, more Evil Dead is a great thing. This film will not star Bruce Campbell as Ash. Um, you know, it's time to move on and bring in some new characters. So excited for Evil Dead Rise. Again, another reason to hold on to that HBO Max subscription. On the Marvel front, Christopher McDonald has joined the cast of Marvel's Secret Invasion. In what role, we don't know. But hey, the cast keeps on growing, so, it should be interesting. On the Sony side of Marvel things, Aaron Taylor Johnson is returning to superhero films, but he will not be playing Quicksilver, as you might have guessed. No, he will instead be playing Kraven the Hunter. So that is going to be another one of Sony's sort of Marvel-verse Spider-Man spin-off films in the same vein as Venom and Morbius, so expect it to fall into that continuity. And we'll talk a little bit more about Sony and Spider-Man here in a bit. All right, so Fox and Disney have released a new poster for the Wes Anderson film, The French Dispatch. The important thing is this is revealed for the first time its new release date, October 22nd. It was originally slated to release at some point last year, but of course, a little thing happened called the pandemic that delayed a lot of films. And a lot of Fox films got reshuffled by Disney. So it's no surprise that we have been waiting extra long for this, but I'm very excited. Wes Anderson's last couple films have been brilliant, so I'm really excited to see this one. And it should reunite several actors from his last few films. Right. The 94th Academy Awards have been set for March 27th, 2022. The eligibility period for submitting a film for an award ends on December 31st. That eligibility period had been extended for this year's Academy Awards, once again, because of the pandemic. It should be noted that March 27th is a later date than normal, not as late as it was this year for the awards, because February is seeing the broadcast of the Super Bowl as well as the Winter Olympics. So the Academy decided it would be best to move their broadcast a little bit further out so as not to compete with what will probably be the biggest television event of February. Those Olympics. All right, back to HBO. HBO has tapped Last of Us voice actor Merle Dandridge to reprise her role as Marlene on the show. Marlene, of course, in the game The Last of Us, was a prominent member of the group the Fireflies, and is actually one of the more important characters in the game. So this is, to the best of my knowledge, the first instance where one of the game's voice actors has been tapped to reprise their role on the show. So again, still looking forward to that and seeing how closely it sticks to or departs from the story established in the games. Moving on to some Disney Plus Marvel news. Danai Gurira is set not only to return as Okoye in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but she's getting her own Disney Plus original series, which, in my opinion, is great. Okoye is an awesome character. I'm glad to see her getting a spotlight. Marvel and Disney Plus have also released a photo of Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight, basically finally officially confirming what we pretty much have known for a while now, that Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight. So still really excited for that one. Personally my most anticipated Disney Plus series, because it's a little bit more of an obscure character than what we have been presented with so far on Disney Plus. Speaking of streaming services, Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's newest film, is already climbing Netflix's top 10 most watched films. It's currently, or rather as of last week, at 72 million households have viewed Army of the Dead in its first 4 weeks. So at that point, it was at number 9 So I anticipate it's going to climb that list as the weeks go on. Let's get back to that Spider-Man news, huh? So Sony Pictures' Sanford Penich spoke with Variety and said that Spider-Man No Way Home may connect with Sony's Marvelverse, but we won't really know anything until we get to see the film. So, Sony's been working on Venom, on Morbius. Now they've got Kraven the Hunter. Those characters all kind of need to face off against Spider-Man at some point, right? Well, maybe it's going to happen. And, maybe everything Sony has done at this point will all connect because Collider's Jeff Snyder, as well as other insiders, are now saying that Willem Dafoe is returning to play Norman Osborn in Spider-Man No Way Home, and that his character, who of course is the Green Goblin, will serve as that film's main villain and unite the Sinister Six. So, just more stuff to bring everything together. Crazy to think that those three Sam Raimi films may end up becoming sort of a weird bit of continuity branching into the MCU or whatnot. I hope we get to talk about that more in the coming months as we learn more about the film. But our last bit of news for the week is the box office. So, A Quiet Place Part 2 opened this weekend. It is so far has led the domestic box office with an estimated 57 million for the holiday weekend, followed by Cruella with 26.5 million. It should be noted that Cruella is of course also available on Disney Plus in Premiere Access. So for an additional $30, you can access Cruella now. So I'm sure that has affected its theatrical box office in some way or another. But A Quiet Place Part 2 is significant in that it is probably the biggest movie so far to release exclusively to theaters and not simultaneously on a streaming service. I believe it is going to come to Paramount Plus after 45 days of its theatrical run. So streamers at home will still get a chance, if they don't want to go to theaters right now, to catch A Quiet Place Part 2 in just over about a month and a half. So that's the news for the week. Before I close up shop, what have I been watching the last week? Not much. I wrapped up MODOK, and it wasn't quite as laugh out loud funny as I thought it was going to be, but it was still a fun time. Patton Oswalt and the boys cast give some really fun performances. The animation's great, and there are some great little moments, including a great cliffhanger ending. So I hope they are going to jump into a second season. I'm hoping to catch A Quiet Place 2 this week, and possibly also finally start Star Wars The Bad Batch. So thank you, everyone, for catching up on the news. It's we're coming back from a 3-day weekend here, so I hope you all had a good weekend, and have an amazing week. Even if we don't have a full episode coming up soon, I will be back next week to catch you up on the news. And of course, check out Trailer Tuesdays. Check us out at Facebook at facebook.com/truthandfilm, on Twitter at Sunday_matinee. And of course, catch up on some of my old reviews and musings on the blog at truthandfilm.wordpress.com. Thank you very much, everyone. This is the news for the week of May 25th through the 31st. Signing out is Ben Stahl, and I will catch you later.